there is a semblance of normalcy to how life has resumed here after the revolution and the overthrow of the Assad regime. Yet there are many underlying problems that I've witnessed. One of them is the shortage of bread and how prices have skyrocketed. So many people have talked about how the prices of bread have increased so much after the overthrow of the government, and because people are scared, they're not opening their restaurants, their bakeries, and things like that. Yesterday morning, I saw a huge line of people, maybe 50 to 60 people just queuing up outside the bakery, and there was so much of a scuffle at the entrance of the bakery, just people just like waiting around, and they were talking about how there's like a shortage of food. A lot of people are angry about the destruction around the city. They're happy, of course, about the overthrow of the regime, and yet they're like, why is there destruction? It's our money that has gone into these public services, like the police station, or like just cars that have been like burned and things like that. They are confused about why there was a necessity to be doing that. Yesterday, I visited the Sadnaya prison, which is about a 45-minute drive away from the capital Damascus, which is where I am right now. The conditions in the prison were absolutely shocking. I saw so many thousands of families just searching for their loved ones who had just disappeared, maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago. People had just disappeared, and they were coming in the hope that their loved ones were alive in the prison. When I arrived there, people were climbing up the mountain about a kilometer or like 2 kilometers of a walk after parking their car to find the people that they had lost. I also saw so many bulldozers kind of digging the earth because of rumors that there were doors about 3 floors underneath the prison floors, and we went underneath. We saw so many rooms, etchings on the walls to mark how much time the prisoners had been there, clothes, just piles and piles of clothes just lying down there. Some of the rebels showed us around, and they were quite keen to talk to people because they wanted to share what their experience was, what they had found. I was also shocked by the kind of torture methods that were used. I saw a human iron press, which the rebels say each side of it weighed 50 tons approximately, and they were used to kill people. And then their bodies were put in plastic bags, taken to a room, and then acid was poured onto them to dissolve the bodies. I wasn't aware that these things were happening. I wasn't aware that things like this were happening in this world. And there were also a lot of like scenes of confusion, anger. Emotions were very heightened at the prison. I heard one person tell somebody else, "I'm running out of time, we need to find them," because there was a high risk that they were being starved underneath if they were indeed underneath the prison. There were some situations, the tensions were exacerbated by the presence of Israeli jets above us. While I was climbing up to the prison, I heard an airstrike, and it was quite jarring because we could still hear the airplanes above us in the prison. In fact, one of the rebels told me, "If you can get out now, you should," because they were also worried and prepared for the possibility of an Israeli airstrike in the vicinity of the prison. I'm standing outside right now of the Mushtahid Hospital, which is behind me, as you can see. We saw so many corpses that were brought in from Sadnaya prison. The doctor there, he told me that around 35 bodies were brought in from the prison, and so many of them had signs of torture. They were bruised, beaten. Some of them looked like they had been starved, hadn't eaten in a long time. I have never seen anything like this in my entire life. And I was talking to one of the student doctors, and he told me no one has ever seen something like this in their life. It was honestly very shocking. And there were just so many relatives inside the hospital looking. They were just opening the body bags, trying to recognize the people that they haven't seen in over 10 years because they were just taken away, detained, many times due to problems with the government or problems with the army. They were taken away arbitrarily, detained. Sometimes they were even under 18 years of age, and they just come with like old IDs just to see if the family is there. Most of them were really eager to talk to the media. They want to talk, they want to tell their story, they want the people to know what's happened. Then we also saw a lot of people there who had used weapons that were left in the buildings, and because they don't know how to handle weapons or firearms, they just end up injuring themselves. We saw a boy who didn't have his fingers. He had blown his fingers off because he had tried to handle weapons. And the doctors told us that armed parties had left them in the buildings. We cannot know for sure who left the weapons, but we do know that there were weapons because we saw the injuries with our own eyes. And there was just so much chaos inside the hospital, in addition to these extra burdens because of the current situation and the things that are being revealed about Sadnaya prison. There are also regular injuries, people who are sick, people who have flu, people who were electrocuted, just so many different things, and clearly the hospital is being burdened. The doctor also told me that so many of the doctors, he's actually a student, But he said he wanted to help out because so many of the doctors have fled the country because they were scared of war, they were scared and they don't want to come out of their houses. So it's really just like a very, very chaotic situation in there at the moment.